So now we are done with the texturing and shear grooming. Now we are going to export the render passes. So basically this is the BPR renderer where you can click and you can see your render. How does it look like? So, and you can change the render settings from here. So I am going to just move it on the left side so I can explain in details. So you can click on lightbox and render sets. So basically these are the presets already being provided by Zbrush. So, and based on the each selection your model will look different. So one of the biggest addition for Zbrush was that non-PBR render process. So basically this is the one. So you can create your character and creature and can give them this kind of look with just selecting these settings. So I'm looking for the realistic rendering. So this is not gonna help me. And these are the filters you can say. So feel free to actually go inside and check all these things. There are a lot of things that you can use. There are materials, alphas, the textures. Already there are a lot of textures to be used, and brushes, right? So it's good to have. Now there is the settings for the render. So if you have an external renderer, so you can actually connect with that. I have the key shot as an external renderer. So I will click on it and I will just launch the key shot so that actually I can render this creature in a key shot. So it becomes difficult to find out. Let me check. I think I'll need to edit this part because it is just wasting time. So the key shot is a you can see this is the key shot and looks like it is not installed in my system. How did this happen? No worries, we will actually do it our way. So when you don't have any external renderer, you don't need to worry about that. We will export all the render passes from here and we'll do the compositing in Photoshop or any similar software. So I'm going to render properties. Here you can actually see the properties. So map detail level. So if you increase the quality, increase this slider, it increase the quality of your render. So basically if I increase and then I will take render, it will look more better. Smooth normals. So what actually does, so let's say your creature has some places very hard details and you want to make it a bit smooth. So you can just turn it on and details will look smooth. I'm not turning it on because my skin detail will be reduced. Okay, and then these are the previews I'm just turning on. I'll first click on the ambient occlusion, flat shadows, and SSS wax preview, and fibers, because I want to render the fibers, and I will also check the blur. Then here I will see the render passes. So I'm going to take one more time render BPR shadows. I have increased the length, BPR transparency. We don't have anything that need transparency. Ambient occlusion, I'll increase it. So this is the BPR filters, so you can use it. We will talk about them also. First, let's focus on this depth Q. So I'm not changing much details. I will change only wherever needed. So render properties and render passes are the most important one. I'll click one more time. And before actually I press render, I would like to check the document size, what actually it has. So width is 1480, and if I want to increase, I can do this right now. So I will double it. So it just gives me the prompt that this is an undoable thing. So I understand this. So this is the actual, this is the half. So I'm click on the actual. Now I will click on the BPR icon, so it will render. This time it will take a bit more time to render the scene because I have increased the quality and I have also activated the render passes. So it will render the ambient occlusion, it will render the color map and the shadows. All these information will be rendered, and then we will be able to export them from Zbrush. And one thing to note, very important, when you press render and when your ZBrush is doing some calculations like rendering or saving the files, do not double click or click anywhere, else your ZBrush may crash. So you need to have some patience and it will be back to the normal state. Sometimes it looks like it froze. Okay, what did this happen? We are going to check. Now we can see, looks like we have changed some settings. I think I will just turn off the shadows, and I think this should be good. I will again do a render. Alright, now you can see once my rendering is done, the new render passes has been created. So this is the depth, this is the image from most recent in this composite. So I'm going to click on the everyone, and I will go to my lecture and create the folder render pass, and we'll save all these. You can save as PSD, I will save it as a PNG. You click on the bitmap, save the ambient occlusion. This is the mask. And this is the floor. So we'll see what we can use. Alright, now we are in the state that now our work is done from Zbrush. One more thing I need to do it. So before I do, I will like to just export this image. So I will click on the export, and this time I'm exporting an image, a rendered image. We'll name it render. Name is render, right? So I can just go to my folder, and I can see the image has been properly rendered, and there is a lot of space. So I think, let me check. I'm just zoom out. Yeah, and then I will I think I will need to redo the process. So we'll click on the BPR, and this time I will have to export all the render passes again because my render result was quite small. Let me export this PNG, and I just want to see how does it, because I want to see whether the hairs has been turned correct or not. Yeah, I think hairs are better, not to be concerned about it. Okay, good. Now I'm going to export the render passes again. We'll click on it and we'll name it PNG BPR composite. We'll replace it. PNG, save, replace it. We'll again save the depth, save the ambient occlusion, the mask, and this SSS filter. Okay, our work is done from here. One more thing I would just do. So I'm going to duplicate this chimpanzee. We'll name it, duplicate it, and we'll name this chimpanzee glossiness. So now what I'm going to do, basically I'm hiding all these information and I'm filling the completely black color to it. Color, fill object. Some places I had added the details, so I'm just adding manually. Here we go. All right. What I'm going to do here, that I will select the material. I think this is too glossy. I will do one thing. I'll play with this. So we'll go to the material and drag this on the left side so I can actually make some changes. First of all, I will just increase the ambient color, fill object, right? So I will increase the ambient. I also will increase the specularity. Okay, there is a specular curve, so you can actually modify it. I just want it to be more hard-edged. I think this should be good. And then we'll take the render. and this time I will export this render to shaded. So I will click on this and will name it glossiness. Alright, now we are good, we are done with this. Let's keep everything on. And now I'm just resuming back to those settings. So the changes I had made in specularity, I'm going to just reduce it. And we'll save the file. So this is it for this section. From here we actually exported the render passes to be used in a graphic image editing software. You can use Photoshop, you can use Affinity, anything. The fundamentals are all same. I'm going to use Affinity, so and will share my process, how I compose it, all the faces and all the details.